Welcome to Transparents. I am one of the co-hosts, Amber. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me on TikTok at Moonchild77. Give me a follow. This is my co-host, my beautiful co-host. I'll let her introduce herself.
What's up, pretty lady? I am Jenny. My pronouns are also she, her. You can find me at Trans Loving Mama on TikTok, Blue Sky, and
Woohoo! I was gonna say,
Instagram still, but like that's on its way out. I'm
right,
sorry.
and isn't lemonade currently like frozen?
I don't know about lemonade. I'm not too. I don't get on
A
there.
lot of a lot of people have given me a follow recently on TikTok because they knew that TikTok, depending on what happened, and a lot of
Yeah,
people were like jumping over to Lemonade. And then because I hadn't downloaded Lemon 8, when I go to click on that like message, that notification now, it goes nowhere. It dead ends. And so these people want to follow you, but this isn't available in your country.
right.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
well, I'll give y'all a follow when
yeah. If you didn't have the app before this all happened,
you're not.
you are now like not gonna get it. Like people can't
Probably
download
not.
TikTok right now. So
Nope.
just sorry. You
Right,
can
right.
still
I mean,
get
it
on
is
a
what it is.
computer and watch it. Like you can easily get
Jeffrey.
on a desktop. Hi, Jeffrey. So,
I'm not
fair
sure
little warning.
what that is about, AP. You'll have to give me a little bit more back detail on what that is. HP 1484. Because we are covering a bunch of stuff, and I'm not sure what
Yeah,
that one is.
there's a lot of things flying at us right now.
Yep.
I want to give a fair warning that my phone was very low on charge. I did try to charge it, but my daughter took my good charger and left me with her crappy one because she's great. And it's not charging, and I'm on like 15%. So if I dip out of here, don't worry. I have an iPad. It will be the backup plan, and I will jump on that way. So just hold down the fort until I get back.
Okay. I'm sitting here clicking on. Oh goodness. Oh yeah, AP. Okay, yeah, lots of info. I will check that one out afterwards. But we have so many that we're already covering tonight that if I dive into that, um, I told Jenny before the show that I know you put something up last week, and I have not gotten back to any comments on this show or on Lyrical in like 2 or 3 weeks now. I have barely responded to anybody. I'm balancing, juggling a lot of plates from totaled cars and rental cars and return of rental cars and getting new cars and a mom that's in and out of the hospital constantly and wound care clinics. And there's just a lot going on
It's a
in
lot.
my peripheral that I'm
It's a
balancing.
lot. It's a lot.
Oh, goodness. So yeah, and also there's a new puppy that I will share a picture toward the end of the show of the new puppy, but there's a new puppy, so anytime because the new puppy was coming from another household to this household, anytime my sons leave the room, she gets antsy. And so there's a lot of I don't like my own time is not my own time at the moment because she's just not settled yet. And it's kind of
Yeah.
that question of is this a temporary? Is this permanent? Like what's going on? So she's getting in there. Um, but there is a lot of imprisoned illegal aliens for life without chance
Right.
of parole
Yeah.
in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mm,
We have to remember that bills can get introduced. It doesn't mean they're going to get
they get
passed.
passed, right?
I know a lot of these things are for show. A lot of these things are so that he can say to his base, look, I tried to do this.
I
I
did
told
it.
you I was
I
going to do
did it.
this. I did this, and it was blocked, or this and this happens. Blame the libs, blame Obama, blame Biden,
Blame the Democrats, blame
Right,
everybody else who
right.
got in the way of it. But I
So
tried. I
that's
did my
definitely a
best.
thing. And, but the fact that it's even happening still sucks because, like, that, yeah, it's like, I
Right?
get that it's not going to happen, but it's on their radar anyway. Go ahead, Amber. I'm
Right?
sorry.
Okay. So this week we know that there was a new administration installed in the US.
A
Um,
regime, if you will.
yes, a regime. And that regime wrote out a flurry of executive orders this week. And I know that there were a lot of people within our social justice groups and advocates, um, and within our trans community, right, who were literally feeling smacked, punched, bludgeoned, battered all week. So I talked to Jenny, and we just kind of, some of the things that initially came out. I know there have been recent rulings. Now, first of all, let me say I am not a lawyer. I do not have a legal background. But from what I did go out and research, and from some of our allies who know much more within the legal spectrum than I do, what I've been disseminating from their own information, from Aaron Reed's blog posts that I go through quite a lot to try and understand. From my best understanding, this is what we're going to look at this week. And so there are a number of bills that really targeted the trans community. And so we wanted to kind of break those down and talk about the SCOTUS cases, or just federal court cases, appeals cases, circuit court cases that have come up before, and their rulings, and how these executive orders are contradictory to what's already been established. And most of these have been established with the court that is current, not past courts, the current court. They upheld this. So the first one I want to go into is federal identification. So the order that the administration made, and you will notice I am not going to mention that name.
Right.
I'm not giving fanfare.
Right.
So, but that order was directed federal agencies to revoke policies that made it easier for trans people to update their gender markers on federal identification. Now, the contradiction to this is this order contradicts the precedent set in Zzyym versus Pompeo from the 10th U.S. District Court of Appeals and the International Civil Aviation Organization treaty standards, which mandate that sex listed on passports with the options of M, F, or X. X. Now, if the Supreme or if the court has already decided this and used this as basis on other rulings, this flies in the face of that. And just about every time you saw another executive order, you saw another lawsuit this week being filed. We'll cover those too. Some of those. We'll discuss some of those. The next one, and because these are so closely aligned, I want to go into this next one. Defining sex as male and female. Now, we'll break down even more nuance into this in a second. But first of all, the order directs federal agencies to recognize only two sexes, male and female, based on reproductive cells. This order affects federal documents such as passports, policies such as federal prison assignments. Now, again, I just told you a case that ruled, and there are standards already set that say for passports, M, F, and X. So executive orders do not give you the ability to override the other branches. There are checks and balances in our government for a reason. I'm pretty sure they're going to be checked on this. Now, let's go into that whole male and female based on reproductive cells. The exact definition that he comes up with is that they have to be based on their reproductive cell size at conception. Now, what he fails to understand, a lot of the GOP fail to understand, what a lot of the base fails to understand, what a lot of people fail to understand is that embryos all start out as female. All of them. So if you go by his definition,
right now is transgender.
So every person out there would be not even transgender, they'd just all be classified as female. Everyone would be a female. Now let's go one step further with that. It also says the one that produces the larger reproductive cell and the smaller reproductive cell. Well, you don't start producing these until puberty. Well, what happens to the person that's infertile? Because they don't produce any. So does that mean they're not a male and they're not a female? And if they're not a male or a female, what are they?
And not to mention intersex people.
You completely wrote out the fact that there are intersex people. And again, that's the reason why I think a lot of these flurries of bills are they are to create fear. They are to gaslight you. They are to get you
Yeah.
scared. They are made to make you want to be silent, to sit down, to be quiet, and to stop
Well,
fighting for
and
your rights.
I tend to think on the other end that it is really to pander to his base, to get his base more riled up. So when these things fall through, because he knows they will, then his base can be pissed at us, blame us. It gives more empowerment to
Right,
discriminate and to
right.
harm people based on these things. Yeah, it serves multiple purposes, and it's extremely effective.
It is.
It's effective because I'm a very reactionary person and I get super pissed about this stuff. But my reaction is never that, well, I mean, sometimes it is. It's never that, okay, I think this is literally going to happen. My reaction is, why is any of this happening? Why are these being
Right.
introduced? There is a reason, there is an agenda. It's a sleight of hand, it's an old magician's trick. I'm going to make you look at this so you don't see me doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they doing? And of course, that's a big ask. What are they doing?
Right.
But the problem is, I'm focused here because these are the people that they're going to sacrifice so that they can do that. Because
Yep.
it's not really about these people. It's so they can do
No.
that. And I don't know
No.
what that is. And I'm not, I have a great therapist who has told me, you're going to have to let the people who know what they're doing do what they do. You're going to
Right.
have to trust that there are people who, are more skilled, they're more knowledgeable, they have the resources, this is what they do with their lives, and you're going to have to just focus on what you can do on a small level. So at any community level is really what we've got to focus on. And you can
Right.
get pissed at every little thing that comes down the pike. I do. I'm a reactionary person. But never lose sight of what you should be pissed at. Not only is that, okay, they're like targeting these people and it's being ugly, but like, why are they doing that? And
Right.
who are they sacrificing to get that?
Right. And why are they sacrificing?
And
What
why?
is the
Well, we know
purpose?
why.
And
It's to get the
well, I mean,
whatever.
I think the bigger question shouldn't be just that why, but why is anyone in our country comfortable with us sacrificing people in
Because
our
we're
country?
because we are so we're all in this like weird survival mode. The gap, that class gap has grown so much that we're all in our own survival mode, and it's hard to it's really hard to think about what somebody else is going through when I can't afford my groceries or I can't afford my medical
Right.
bills.
Right.
And I don't hold anybody at fault for sometimes you're just locking in, right? You're just very locked into what you've got going on because you just have to be. Um, but it's those of us that kind of are in that more comfortable and privileged place. Like I don't have any money either. I have $27 in my bank account right now. I don't have any money either, but I can multitask in that way. Okay, well I've got to pay my bills. I've got to get to work. I've got to do this, but I have time in the evening to do X, Y, Z too to be helpful. And so
Right.
those of us that can do that, that's what we need to do.
Right. I mean, well, I
Yeah.
mean that's
Right, AP.
what did he put? I've got my thing up. Shoot, I didn't even think about
That
that.
we've been
People,
in
oh
survival
yes,
mode
people
for
are putting things
decades.
up here, and I'm not even paying attention because I've got my notes up, so it completely covered all the comments. Any? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, Annie.
We've been in survival mode for decades. Yes.
Decades.
Yes, yes. CEO pay declined, but they still made 290 times as much as a typical worker CEO pay has soared. Yeah, yeah, since
Yeah,
1978. Yes,
yeah.
yes. What
We're
was that
starting to
Reagan did?
understand.
Took off the wealth cap.
Yeah. Yep.
And what happened? Oh, it was going to be trickle down economics. It
Oh
didn't.
God. It's like
How many
very dry.
billionaires were on the front row at the inauguration? Just asking for a friend.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
let me pull these back
Yeah.
up so we can go into the next executive order. Okay, so discrimination protections. This order directs federal agencies to exclude trans people when enforcing laws that protect against sex discrimination. Contradiction. This order contradicts the SCOTUS ruling in Bostock versus Clayton County in 2020, which ruled that discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity is sex discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So SCOTUS ruled on this. SCOTUS ruled, or 2020 SCOTUS ruled on this. In fact, I believe everybody who's currently on the bench was there except for Katanji at the moment. Or Katanji recused herself from this case because she was either so new into it or there was something to that. But everybody who was on the court, again, this was ruled for trans people. And now he's created an executive order that says, nope, it's okay. All right. Number 4, trans prisoner protections. This order calls for trans women to be housed with men in federal prisons and for an end to any gender-affirming care being provided to trans people incarcerated in federal facilities. Contradictions. This order contradicts the 2009 Prison Rape Elimination Act, PREA, which provides trans people who are incarcerated a say in which and where they are housed if their safety is threatened. It also contradicts cases like Estelle versus Gamble from 1976 and Edmo versus Corazon, Inc., Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in 2019, which established the necessity of providing adequate medical care, including gender-affirming care, to incarcerated individuals. So again, I just want to say this. Remember how they all keep saying this is brand new? So I just said that this A contradicts cases like Estelle versus Gamble from 1976. And then again at the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in 2019. This isn't new. And they were upheld for the rights of trans people. Number 5, elimination of gender-affirming care funding. This removes all funding for gender-affirming care under Medicaid and Medicare. Contradictions. This contradicts rulings by federal judges that deem such bans unconstitutional, such as the case involving my state, North Carolina, and West Virginia, where the Fourth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that preventing gender-affirming care in Medicaid was discriminatory and unconstitutional. This was the first U.S. Court of Appeals decision to consider government-sponsored covered exclusions of gender-affirming medical care, and whether those exclusions were lawful, which they were deemed they were not. So again, you're going against established precedent, something that's already been taken by different states, trying to exclude care, and you've already been told, no, you can't do that. And the new administration is trying to write it out anyway. So again, I'm like Jenny, like some of this is just to make his base say, look, he did what he said he was going to do.
Yep.
It doesn't mean it's going to pass.
They're all getting very, very, very excited right now.
Right.
And they feel very vindicated and they
Yes.
love it. And they're coming out
Yes.
and they're like, oh, cry more libs. And they love it. I mean, I get them on all my little things. They are thrilled about this. Now, my concern being that Roe was a precedent. That
Yes.
when these Supreme Court justices were interviewed, I don't know what the word is right now, impaneled, they said, we're not going to touch it. That's precedent.
Right. Right.
And they touched it, and it's no longer precedent. So
Right.
on one hand, Amber makes excellent points. On the other hand, if you're a little more like me, I do not trust any of this anymore. I don't trust any of these people. I don't trust that anything that we thought was going to be here forever to be here forever. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt.
I think, well, no, I'm with you in the fact that I think my thing is always a look at hope.
For sure.
And that's the reason, and what I also want to put out here, and that's the reason why I wanted to do this episode, because I am with you. I don't trust SCOTUS whatsoever.
Not a bit.
Thank God for Ketanji Brown. Like, I can't, I'm so glad she was put on that court. Again, we know she's a minority in that decision making. We have a very overwhelmingly conservative court.
Yeah.
So that is a concern. But I will say that again, some of these prior rulings have been with that same court that upheld these rights. So they'd have to go against what they said before. And you really start getting murky waters and start looking at, okay, so what happens is if you get to a point where the country says, you know what is the point of SCOTUS? Because you don't exist anymore. You allow everything unconstitutional. You overrule what you made as a precedent before.
Right.
Why should we listen to you anymore? And then we start, what is the rule of law? Like, we
Right.
really do start unraveling. So I don't know if that is the conclusion that they're looking for, is that everything completely unravels and implodes. I have no idea.
I don't know.
But there are people out there who do care. And I think they want you to feel like there are people who don't.
For sure.
And that there aren't protections out there. So I think a lot of this is, again, for scare.
Sure.
And I just wanted to share that there have been things put in place before and upheld, and even recently upheld, so that you're going to see a lot of this.
This isn't quite the assault. Right. This isn't as bad as it seems. It's bad, but it's not as bad as it seems.
I think my thing is like, don't throw all your energy, like, don't get so overwhelmed.
Right.
But they're coming after me, they're coming after me, they're coming after me, because we're in week 1.
Right.
Do you know how long we have to go? Yeah. You really need to take it. It's a day by day. And if we live in fear, it's a lot harder to constructively advocate, to constructively do anything that actually is pro for the community. Whether it just be your child or within your small community, your organization, whatever it is. We have to keep level-headed. And part of this, again, is to gaslight us and make us freak out and oh God, oh God, oh God, the sky is falling, the sky.
Yeah, he did this last time. I mean, this is what he's about. He loves to just throw things at everything, and then you get a little banonkers. And I'm a little banonkers, admittedly. Amber, again, not being sure what's going to happen with my phone charging. I did get an email today from our attorney's office. And I would like to share that if you don't mind.
Yes,
I don't know if you're going to bring this up, but I figure I think we are.
Go ahead.
I'm going to bring it up. Oklahomans for Equality, so that's OEQ. My attorney is Oklahoma, is the Equality Law Center of Oklahoma, is aware of belonging reports indicating that agents in some U.S. passport offices may be directed to confiscate passports and/or supporting documents from individuals attempting to update their gender markers. These reports also include instances of denied passport renewals and the confiscation of supporting information, such as an amended birth certificate. While these reports are concerning, OKEQ advises our community to remain calm and take proactive steps. Sorry, I have dogs. I'll stop in a second. Is it loud? God dang it. Before I close this door. My daughter's coming home. It never fails. I am always the one. It's always me. So stay calm and take proactive steps to safeguard their documents and personal safety. This is a great email. What this means for our community: we are urging individuals to pause any plans to update their Social Security gender markers, amend passports, or renew previously updated passports until more information is available. Here are some important recommendations. Number 1, document all interaction. If you must visit a passport office, keep detailed notes of your interactions, including the date, time, agency location, and the names of agents involved. Ask under what authority any documents are to be confiscated and record this information. Number 2, don't panic, stay informed. Avoid making hasty decisions. Wait for additional clarification from federal agencies or advocacy organizations before taking steps to update gender markers. So that means ours is on pause. What is she doing? Just come in the door. Ours is on pause for right now as far as the gender marker, because I am concerned about my child being on a list.
Right.
Border crossings. At this time, we have not received reports of issue at border crossings for individuals with previously updated passport documents. However, if you plan to cross the international borders, we recommend implementing the following safety precautions. Number 1, make a safety plan. Share your travel plans with someone you trust, including the crossing location, time, and expected duration. Carry emergency contact information and inform someone of your progress. Number 2, travel with support. If possible, travel with a non-LGBTQ+ ally who can assist if any unexpected situation arises. We are here to support you, Oklahomans for Equality.
Yeah, right. Like, just because the new administration came in.
But the method of that is don't panic,
Right.
but plan.
Be
So have a
prepared.
plan, be prepared, but don't completely lose your mind.
I mean, there's always like when you do if you're in the military, like for instance, my ex-husband was 82nd Airborne, and they always because 82nd Airborne is the one group that pretty much when they do a recall, it means that wheels up in 18 hours. You have to be ready to go, bags packed on the pretty much the runway, ready to go wherever you need to go within 18 hours. Um, and so, and then I also have friends who did search and rescue. And so they would have to-go bags so that if you were in an area doing search and rescue and say it's during a natural disaster and you get the call that, okay, that's it, conditions are getting to a point, we can no longer do this, we've got to call it, you have your to-go bag to get out.
Yeah,
And this is kind of your to-go bag.
this is the
Having
to-go
your
bag.
documentations, like having, if you have an attorney, having their information on hand, like if you're traveling, make sure you have this information with you. Again, if you have someone that is non within the LGBT group, certainly have them travel with you as just an extra precaution.
Yeah,
I hate that we're
smart.
having to have that conversation.
It's weird and it sucks, but I've had to learn so many times that I have to deal with life on, excuse me, on life's terms. And these are life's terms right now. It doesn't mean I have
Right,
to, just lay down and accept it. I can always work toward what's right and I can work toward something better. But until I deal with what is as it is, I can't be effective.
right, right. And that's kind of like figuring out where you can help, what you can do, what is within your bandwidth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big one. What is within your bandwidth? Like self-care, self-care, self-care. If you're an advocate, if you're just part of the community, if you're a parent, just trying to navigate the journey with your kids sometimes is hard enough. So don't think that you necessarily have to jump out there and be part of the active community. If things are really hectic at home, your attention needs to be at home. Child first. That's the point of the show. We're talking about children, we're talking about adolescents that grow up into adults. And right now, they're being heavily impacted by this. A lot of the legislation is targeted more toward youth than it is toward adults. It doesn't mean that adults aren't being impacted. It doesn't mean that they're not trying to start going after adults now, because they are. The youth are the number one that really are being targeted at the moment as far as gender, having their gender affirming care ripped away, being outed in schools, like all of it. It drives me insane. So
It is.
let's
And if
go
you, if
to some of the next ones, because the next one, I know this is a big one here on LinkedIn, because I know that even how certain jobs were advertised before on LinkedIn that were considered DEI. I can't remember the exact. AP probably knows. They're calling it something else now. It's not called DEI work, like DEI jobs anymore. There used to be like a category that you could go click on, and it's gone from LinkedIn now. They've changed it. So the next order, ending DEI programs. The order, terminate diversity, equity, and inclusion programs within the federal government. Clarifications. While this order does not directly contradict Bostock versus Clayton County from SCOTUS, it does undermine efforts to promote diversity and inclusion, which align with the principles established in the Bostock ruling. So, granted, this doesn't go like exactly against that ruling, but what was established in that ruling, it does go against that. So again, you're conflicting with what SCOTUS has already ruled. And again, we know makeup of the court is what it is, and we never know what to expect from them. That's part of our job, is to keep calling them out to keep them in check.
yes,
And if they're not going to check themselves, we've got to check them.
we have to check them. We have to check them. All of these people are supposed to work for us. And when they get elected or when they get appointed or when they get that status, we suddenly go, well, they're in control. No. They still work for us. All
I believe
of
one of those
us.
executive orders rolled back gifts for them. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, where they had to report gifts. I don't think they have to report gifts now.
I'm a little shocked, though, that would be what they want to do. What is the, see, why is that?
Well,
Like,
I
what
mean,
is the
Thomas
agenda
was doing
there?
it already.
Well, right, he was doing
So
it
was
already.
Alito. They're not covering it up. Well, they
So
were covering it up. And now
right,
Trump just says, you don't have to cover it up anymore. You don't have to report
right,
Jack.
right.
Do what you want. Go hang out in the yachts all you want. By the way, did you see how he released documents on MLK and JFK assassinations, but he did not release anything about the Jeffrey Epstein? Hmm.
Nothing. Wait, I thought we were all
Wonder
supposed to see that.
why. Wonder why.
We were all supposed to see that.
Yep. Okay. So the DEI programs. That's one of them. The next one, ban on transgender military service. This reinstates the ban on trans individuals serving in the military, forcing them to identify by their birth certificate sex. This order contradicts previous policies that allowed trans individuals to serve openly. Now, I know that was a different administration that put that in place, and so this administration is coming in to kick it back out. But I want you to see that this is a political football. It's not a real
Yeah.
point. They punt it around to whatever works for them. And right now, this has everybody's attention. So that did you notice everybody stopped complaining about the eggs and the gas?
Nobody cared about eggs or gas.
No.
Do you know anything that I've said regarding that? I have had countless comments. My following exploded over TikTok in the last week. I went from 10,000 to 50,000. I did not ever mean for that to happen.
Oh, holy cow, girl.
It's insane. I mean, I had 3.2 million views where I was just flipping people off.
No, I saw that one. I did see that one. I did see
Like, they're
that one.
taking it out of context. I'm neurodivergent. I don't know what the heck I was saying. Anyway, I have so many people who show up to say it wasn't about the gas prices and the eggs. We were tired of the woke culture. They are tired of us saying, I don't think that a black man should have the police kneel on his head for 9 minutes until he expires over whatever it was. It wasn't deserving of the death penalty, and I don't think that should happen. Oh, and by the way, here are all the other examples of ways that black people are treated unjustly. They don't want that. They don't want us saying we give a damn about children, their autonomy, if they're different. They don't want us insisting that you can't discriminate against people. This idea of wokeness is hilarious to me. Because I've heard some people say, like, oh, they're against empathy, and they are. One right-wing nut came out and said, don't commit the sin of empathy, and he was referring to Bishop Buddy, who did.
Yep.
I mean, just if I heard that, and it made me like want to get baptized, and I'm an atheist. Like, it was that moving to me. It was like, that's the Jesus I remember learning about. That's the faith that I was into. So, it's not just, wokeness isn't just empathy. It's just being awakened to what the hell is really going on with people all around us, especially in marginalized communities, and wanting to take steps to make it more just, make it more equitable.
I like how they wear that. I like how they do that as like the wokeness thing, the sin of empathy.
Right. Did you just call empathy a sin, sir? It was crazy. I couldn't believe I read it. AP. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's disgusting when we have to remember to remind people care about somebody else.
Yeah.
That's not you.
But
are we we became that self-centered? We became that selfish.
If you look at like the same kind of socioeconomical unrest and political unrest that was going on in Germany at the time, you really, even though it's not exactly the same, it's not, there are some parallels, there are some commonalities. And when people feel, downtrodden, disenfranchised, not heard, you just make a common enemy. And that's really what seems to have happened. And I guess, I don't know. I don't know if I was paying attention well enough. I don't know how much I could have done. But, we were, like I said, we've all been very tunnel visioned in our lives for the past several years. if not decades, because you're just trying to get by, you're just trying to survive. So you don't really take that kind of outside look. And now
Right.
we're going to have to deal with the fact that that's what happened. We can't go back in time. We can't change it. Um, my best advice is get involved locally. Stop waiting for someone else to do this. Go to your city website. I just did. I'm not.
I'm not sure. She's freezing. Am I freezing? Did her phone go dead? I'm not sure. All right. All right. I feel like that's Jenny's screen. So while we'll see if she comes back. While she's doing that, unfreezing, hopefully. I'm pretty sure it's her. Like it says I'm still recording. I still have full. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I think. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to make sure it's on Jenny's and not on mine. I'm gonna go into like the last piece that I actually had up here as far as legislation, and the last one. Yep. Okay. I think it was her. So the last one that I had. There we go. Did you
You ain't
die?
getting rid of me that easily.
Did you die? The
I
battery?
did. I have an
Okay. Okay.
iPad, and this is very weird.
No,
But
it froze, and I was like, "Oh crap! I don't know if she froze. Did I freeze?" And so I was like afraid to move on because I didn't know if you were still talking on the other side. And like, yeah, yeah.
no, I'm back. So as I was saying, because I do want to complete it, get on. I
Yes.
just did it. Get on your city council website and find out when the next meeting is and be there. And if it's about a rock in the middle of the road, go be there. And if it's about whatever it's about, we don't know enough about our local government, how to utilize it, how to get engaged in it, how to get involved in it. We need to learn more about how our government works because a lot of us don't know, and it's reasonable that we don't know. We're not involved. We're busy. We have lives. We trust these people to just get done what they need to get done. Go get involved. I've always said I'm this little tiny blue dot in a red state, but I vote because damn it, they're going to know I'm here. So
I
nobody can do that
but
for
I
you. They
don't.
can't hold your hand.
I will tell you, I don't necessarily. You can go to your local county, city board, but I can also tell you that there are communities that it won't matter. And I live
Right.
in one of those where
Yeah.
everything is as red can be, and you can go and all you're honestly going to do is, quite frankly, paint a target on you and your kid.
Yeah.
I'm better to go to the state level than I am to like ever step into a local because nobody is going to listen to me, and I will become a big fat target. And that's because before I ever came to LinkedIn, I was doing things at the community level, and I knew what my community already felt like, and it was
Yeah.
icky, icky, gross, and that's why I'm not even on Facebook because those people. I found the majority
Yeah.
of it to be icky, icky, gross, and I had to leave. Like I just if you're going to be that nasty, no,
Right.
thank you. I decided to create communities somewhere else. But
Well,
let's go
I'm
to
going to get
the
icky gross in the coming weeks because
well, no,
I'm just
I
let's do
hear
it.
you. So the last piece that I wanted, the last of the executive order, actually, I think I might even have some more, but one of the other ones I want to mention was the immigrant amnesty case. And this is the end birthright citizenship, which is, it does in ways, there are actually two cases that I wanted to bring up that actually are reasons why, again, I think some of the things that he is writing are
Yeah.
bluster.
This seems
Okay.
very theatrical.
Right? Okay, so the contradiction. This order contradicts the 14th Amendment of our
Yeah.
Constitution, which
Our
guarantees birthright
Constitution.
citizenship. Okay, that's the first one. Additionally, the SCOTUS rule, if I can get it out, the SCOTUS ruling in matter of A.B. in 2021 upheld the right of a transgender individual from South America to seek asylum based on persecution due to their gender identity. And Santos Zakaria versus Garland, a 2023 ruling. The Supreme Court unanimously decided in favor of Estrella Santos Zakaria, a trans woman from Guatemala, upholding her right as a trans individual from Guatemala to seek asylum based on persecution due to gender identity. If they're allowing someone to file for asylum because of being targeted for gender identity. They believe in gender identity.
Yeah.
How can you say that you allow that
Yeah.
from someone seeking asylum, but in our country they don't exist? Excuse me? And this is the same court that he's counting on is going to back up these orders. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to point out these, because it goes over it. So, okay, additional information. Over the past few years, several of these cases related to trans rights have come before SCOTUS. Notable cases include Bostock versus Clayton County 2020, Zzyym versus Pompeo, 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, matter of AB 2021, and the Zzyym or the Zakaria case that I just mentioned. The court has ruled in favor of trans rights in these cases, setting important precedents for LGBTQ protection. So I don't want to say that they have always said, no, we're not upholding it. No, we're not upholding it. They give us a lot of doubt. But that's the reason why we need to educate ourselves, and we need to stay informed so that we can keep bringing attention to that, so that when they start saying, oh, this or that, no, that's not truth. You've got to give me like real data to support that, because what you just said is emotion, projection, and has no evidence. It's your opinion. So executive overreach. Last part of this part of the show. The new administration's recent executive orders attempting to roll back LGBTQ protections are not only deeply concerning, but also reflect a troubling disregard for the separation of powers established by our Constitution. By issuing these orders, the administration seems to be attempting to dictate how the courts should rule, undermining the independence of our judiciary. The current Supreme Court, with its conservative majority, has shown a tendency to roll back protections, particularly with Justice Thomas and Alito, who have leaned heavily toward Trump's policies. This influence raises concerns about the court's ability to remain an independent branch of government, as established by the Constitution. When the executive branch attempts to dictate how the judiciary should rule, it undermines the separation of powers and the court's duty to interpret and uphold the law impartially. This erosion of judicial independence threatens the very foundation of our democracy and the rights of marginalized communities. It's essential to remain vigilant and advocate for a judiciary that respects and upholds the principles of justice and equality for all. Again, which is why we're like, you got to be vocal and keep talking about it. Especially those of us who have kids who are in the community, who know people who work within these populations. Don't be quiet. They say bullshit, call it out.
Yeah, but I mean, it still becomes, because trans people are this tiny percent of the population. Therefore, parents of trans people are a tiny percent of the population.
Yep, they are.
This is, I don't think this is a trans person's work to do.
No. That's what I'm saying. The people within the community really should be, and
but
whoever
it can't
is
just
listening.
Be ours, because we're 1% of the population too. So this whole, it's only 4 years, we've got to get through this 4 years. We've got to get through this administration. No, it's not. Elon Musk is not giving up his money in the next 4 years. So if you get complacent with just, well, we survived the last 4 years, and yeah, some things will suck and people will lose some rights, but then there'll be another Democrat. We don't know.
You got to stay vigilant. No.
We don't know that that's what's going to happen. And sorry if I'm, inspiring panic, but we need to assume that it might not.
Right.
Because
Elon
Musk isn't giving up his money in the next 4 years. So we're in a pickle. So it's fine to sit back and take a breath and whatever, but do not get into this, well, it's only the next 4 years and everything's going to be okay. No. They're coming for you next in some way or another.
Right. It is something that you need to stay vigilant on it. You cannot, this is time where we just aren't silent. I signed up and I need to look at it. I'm not entirely sure. Did you see Liam's announcement about the meeting that he's having in a couple of weeks?
No, I'll check it out.
Okay. If you didn't, I can send it to you.
But when was it?
I believe it's for next Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. I work on Saturdays.
You might be able to get it recorded.
Yeah, I'll just pop
Well,
in,
actually,
but
no,
Saturdays and Thursdays work.
I don't think they are recording it for safety reasons. But I
Yeah.
can help you, like, give you the extra information that I
Cool.
get at the meeting. Um, but it's kind of to galvanize resources and to talk about the things that we can do on the community and to get motivated in what we can do, right? And I think that is important for people to find something productive that they can do, whether
Right.
it be small at the grassroots level. Any movement is movement.
Yeah.
And speaking of movement, so that everybody, okay, so we've heard the flurry, we've heard the contradictions. Now, here are some lawsuits that are actually going on, or actual things that are actually going on. So Lambda Legal and ACO lawsuits. Lambda Legal and ACO have filed multiple lawsuits challenging the executive order that revokes non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ federal employees and employees of federal contractors. This order reverses protections extended through executive orders issued by Presidents Clinton, Obama, and Biden. Under the transgender prisoner protection, several lawsuits have been filed challenging the executive order that targets trans people incarcerated in federal prisons. This order mandates that trans women be housed with men and eliminates funding for gender affirming care in federal prison. Gender affirming care funding. Multiple lawsuits have been filed challenging the executive order that removes funding for gender affirming care under Medicaid and Medicare. These lawsuits argue that the order is discriminatory and unconstitutional, citing previous rulings by federal judges, which is the one that I mentioned in North Carolina and West Virginia, that was just ruled on last year. Like, if I'm not badly fooled, like October of last year,
Right.
of 2024. Like, this is not old. This was just ruled on. And I
Right.
don't think that's going to change because of the president sitting on the bench, because it's still the same court makeup. So if they upheld it in 2024, kind of looks like somebody else is trying to rewrite our entire Constitution.
Right.
Just saying. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of with Jenny. Like, I tiptoed in some this week. Like last week after the show, we had one little hateful comment up there on YouTube, and I had to report that. And it was like, I'm coming for y'all. And it was just like, whatever, dude. Like, I,
Okay.
you have 3 subscribers. Ooh, I'm so
I'm
scared. And
terrified.
honestly, it wouldn't matter if you have 50,000
Right.
subscribers. Again, I don't care what your opinion is.
Yeah.
When did we
Yeah.
start as Americans saying it was okay to threaten people because they thought differently than we did?
Well, I think there's some people it's okay.
Yeah, right, right. Oh goodness, AP, you are blowing it up over here. Our complacency has gotten us here. It has.
It has. It has.
And it will get us 86 if you're not careful. You are darn skippy on that one.
Yeah.
Darn skippy.
It's crazy.
Especially with who just got appointed as, whew.
Chancellor?
Anyway, not chancellor. I was actually thinking of Hegseth. Whew.
Oh God.
Yeah. We won't. I'm not trying to get completely political here, so everybody loses it. Um, right. But I will say that this show we do talk about politics, and I know a lot of people don't want to talk about politics. And Jenny and I have just talked about it, that it's outside of our show and on this show, that when you're talking about something like this, it is being made political.
Right.
There is no way for us to
My child
avoid that
didn't want to be a
conversation,
political target. I don't
right?
want to talk politics. Nobody likes that stuff. But whenever human rights become a political thing, yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about them.
Right? Especially if they affect people that you love and care about,
Right.
that you work with, that are in your community. That doesn't even matter. I mean, it doesn't even count
Right.
the fact that we have children. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that you're targeting people. Why are we targeting people?
Yeah. It
We
really
could go
has
so
to,
far into that, but
we need the shift, which I think is kind of interesting because it feels like that shift kind of began and hopefully maybe has some more momentum, taking it from left versus right to top versus, going to the top. But
right.
still within that, if we can't agree that human rights are human rights, then, I'm not
How do we even have the
gonna walk side
conversation?
by side in your class warfare with you. You don't
Right?
honor the dignity and humanity of my kid,
yeah, like, cool, I may believe in what you're doing, but as far as like, headed for the top, or like trying to deal with the class warfare, but I'm not going to walk shoulder to shoulder with you. You don't honor the dignity of all humans. You're not my people.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Um, and thinking about that, I think I don't know if he got his done. I know we got one part of our documents done, and he had mailed off for the other part of it, but I don't know if we got the last part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I will
know.
say though, I will say that right currently, because of the election, we now have a Democrat, 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 like the top four are Democrat. So like I'm not as concerned. They also don't have the lock-in supermajority that they did before in both houses. So again, I feel a little bit better
Yeah.
statewide, as far as hopefully that slows down some speed bumps. Hopefully, knock on wood, but we
Hopefully.
know how that goes.
Hopefully.
Um, but yeah, and I will say, Jenny and I, we've been talking. If I'm not sure if Dr. Green is here or not. I'd reached out to him earlier this week, and I do have an email that is sitting in my inbox. But whew, yeah, no, it's been a flurry all week. Like my weather too. Like we had snow here for 2 days, and it was only an inch and a half. But if it doesn't get over freezing in North
Yeah.
Carolina, an inch and a half of snow is a big dang deal. So
Yeah.
nobody moved this week. We just all kind of stayed where we were at and
Yeah.
tried to be warm. And
That's how we do it
yeah,
here.
and like I
Just
handled the
avoid
other
it.
stuff, but I just did not get to everything that I wanted to get to this week. Um, but yeah, so it's been I think that's the key though, is that you have to learn to take in stride what you can do within your own energy. Because if you pour out, and again, that's what I want to stress, if you pour out so much energy right now into we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do it right now, right now, right now, right now, what are you going to have down the
Yeah.
road? Like it
You're
is
gonna
a
be
day to day.
exhausted.
You have to learn how to do your self care so that you can keep going, so that you feed that resolve, so you can be there for the community, so you can be there for your kid. Because yeah, we don't know what the next 4 years exactly is going to look like. I'm not going to
I think
say it's going
it's
to be easy. Like I don't want everybody to go,
right.
oh, okay, it's perfect, we're good. Amber's got some cases, we're good. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
at all, but I am saying that there are some things for us to fall back on. There are people who know what they're doing, fighting at the court levels to try and stop this from happening. So take it day by day. If it's just being there for your kid today and that's all you can do, then at
Just be there
least
for
you
your
could
kid.
do that. And that's the part that we really want more than anything else to express, is that the kids continue to get the support that they need, because from
Yeah.
every corner right now, it must seem to them that they're being attacked, and we don't want them
Yeah.
to lose hope in everybody, because there are those of us out here who do give a damn.
And just let your kids know you love them. You're there to keep them safe. And there are a lot of really good people out here trying to make sure it's safe. You may have to make some decisions. You may have to make some decisions about how things are going to go. I don't know, but you're the best person who knows who your kid is, how to talk to them. Keep
Yep.
them calm. You don't have to lie to your kids, but you don't have to, blow smoke up their behinds, right? I mean,
Right.
for the most part, a lot of things can be age appropriate, and kids can handle it. It's all in the presentation of it. But if the presentation comes as, no matter what happens, I'm going to do everything I can to keep you safe, and I love you, and I think you're fantastic. And if somebody else says you don't exist because you're non-binary, I'm looking at you. You exist,
Right.
and just be that support.
I can touch you. You're real.
Yeah, you're real.
Don't worry about them.
Yeah, don't
And
worry
and
about them.
and it does take a lot, but like, and I had a friend of mine who's in the social justice circles, and she had written this article this week, and she was like, and when you can't deal with it, just go art therapy. And so I was like, girl, I've done painting therapy, I have done a lot of music
Yeah.
therapy, I have been doing my therapy, and the more and more I got thinking about it, and we'll go into that because I said it last week that I'd share a picture. The more and more I think about it, this is Coyote. And I think, and this is my adult. This is my trans son's dog, new dog, and he lost his last dog. Almost. I think he got Coyote a couple of days before the 1 year anniversary of losing Pippi. And watching
Kitty.
him the last year go without a companion. And when I think about that, at least for my kids, and especially for my trans son, who just he's not a very emotional person. He's a very intelligent thinker. And so he just doesn't express a lot of outward emotion. But this was his support. Pippi was his support before. And I think this resurgence of needing and wanting a dog again was like having that grief time over. But I'm also looking at what just happened this week, and maybe
Yeah.
he wanted his own form of therapy. His
Yeah.
own form of healthy distraction that keeps him sane. And that's what I'm saying. Like, do
And
whatever you
every
need to
kid
do.
has that. Like,
Right?
find out what your kid's is and try to foster it. Try to,
Nurture it,
yeah,
right?
if it's a dog and you can't have a dog because you live in an apartment, that's understandable. But can you take your kid to volunteer, with a rescue foundation? Maybe not
Right?
someplace sad
Right?
like a kill shelter, but,
No.
find ways.
Right. And there's some dog parks. There are some that are like not only just vets, but they're also boarding facilities. And so I know that certain people can go and
Right,
volunteer there to go walk and work with the dogs to give them some attention, the ones that are being
right.
kenneled. So again, so they have extra attention. So again, there are ways that you can do things to help. If it's art therapy, get them some paints. If it's they need to go outside in nature, take them to the park. Like again, whatever they need.
That for my
And the
son,
same
it
thing for the
was
parents too.
my son likes to sit down and watch YouTube videos. He loves Danny Gonzalez. He loves Curtis Connor. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, it is. Anyway, there's all these little YouTubers that he just loves. And so when he comes home from school to decompress, he just puts on these old YouTube, these funny YouTubes. And,
Right?
Is it my favorite thing in the whole world? Actually, it has kind of become my favorite thing. It didn't used to be. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this young guy talk about whatever. But now I've just really, first of all, I think he's hilarious. I think they're hilarious. My son has great taste in entertainment, but
I
also
wish
it's just that
I
time to
wish
spend
that
with him.
that's what mine were watching, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's epic rap battles, and still
I
they're
love
in their mid-20s, and it's epic rap battles.
it.
And gosh, what is the other one? There's this. Oh, my middle son. I don't know what is going on over there, but from the UK, there's like one or two groups that my son follows, and they're like rappers, but they're like old men rappers.
I
They're
love the
like
face
in their
already.
60s and 70s, and it's embarrassing. They're in Speedos, and I'm just like, with their cigars and walking down, I'm just like, I can't, what,
I'm just now hearing about
you're
this.
25 years old. Why are you watching? Why is this so funny? Like, I mean, and it is funny,
Sounds
but at the
great.
same time, I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay. And actually, last night with Netflix, they were going to watch something, and it was like World War II related, and we just finished Walking Dead, and I was like, look, okay. First of all, we do a lot of gritty stuff, right? And I can handle some gritty, and some I can't. And The Walking Dead, we're in season 11. We haven't
Yeah.
finished it. Nobody killed. Nobody tell me what happens because we still haven't finished it. And so we're finally getting there. And it just every episode is just like, oh, when will it end? Kind of thing.
Right.
It's
Right.
kind of like dragging on in cruelty at this point. And so the kids were like, they wanted to watch this new World War II movie, and it was about police officers and one goes a good way and one goes a bad way. And I was like, you know what? I don't, this is not where I want to put my energy. Like, okay, we
Right.
did Walking Dead. I'm going to go do Audible and
Yeah.
listen to a book and puzzle in my room. And that's where I put my energy because that's where I need it. I don't want the brutality.
Yeah.
See brutality in people's actions and
Right.
words right now. And that's
Right.
like,
Right.
I
Right.
have my fill of it. Just like,
Mind your media. Mind your
right.
media.
There you go.
Be
There
sure
you
you watch
go.
some doggy videos, some kitty videos, baby ducks. Like, you've got to have some palate cleansing and all of this. You've got to find ways to
Great
laugh at
Britain's
it.
Bake Off. Like
Right.
that like a blowing glass, like Netflix has a thing called blowing glass that I love watching, and they even have like a Christmas special on it. There are Lego specials, guys, where you can go watch adult people put together Legos.
Yes, yes, you
And
can.
I like, again, like I have lots of little things that again tap into the nerdy part of me that I can
Yeah,
check out in self-care. So I can keep going and getting up and doing what I do every day. And some days are easier than others. This week was definitely a week that right? Like you were on TikTok, I see Jenny's on TikTok, Jenny's on TikTok, and I'm like, I'm not going over there. I can't go over there. I can't.
girl.
No, because I just knew. I just knew to stay the hell away. It was smarter to just. And so even when I put these videos out, if y'all are following me on TikTok and you feel like I'm ignoring you, I am not ignoring you. It's just I am very, very, very careful about my bandwidth and my
Yeah,
energy. And if it starts to deplete it, I'm out because I got too much going on to take that on. I'm just not. I just walk away from it.
yeah.
If it
That's
starts
okay. We'll
sucking
forgive
from
you.
me, I'm out. Like,
I'm
I'm just
sorry. I
not.
would like to apologize to everyone who's watched this for how much I've moved. I've noticed, please know that I've noticed. I am unmedicated and have been for over a week, and it's difficult. I have ADHD, and it's really difficult to sit still. And so I've really been struggling. But I just, every now and
Why
then
did
out of
you,
my peripheral,
what,
like I
what,
can see myself and I'm like, girls,
what, why did
stop.
you go? Well, see, I mean, I'll be honest, y'all see like this part of me, but I am, my hand, like on
Yeah,
lyrical, like you will see me like in the music and like, nah, 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 with the
I'm
points.
struggling today. I'm
Like I
struggling.
need to sit on my hands kind of thing. I remember in nursing school, like I would have
Oh,
to, because I'd want to
I'll
be
just
like,
rock.
what? Like I'd be at the back of the class, like, and like I could see my instructors kind of be like, Amber, do you have a question? And so like
Yeah,
I got to a point where I
yeah,
just sit on my hands, like, no,
yeah.
no questions. We'll
No,
be here another
it's all
hour,
like
and I've
rocking
been
and
here for
self-soothing.
10. Yeah,
I
yeah.
tell you what it never causes me to do is fling my arm into the air in a public space. Just saying.
Really?
Yeah, I never like do a Roman salute in public.
Oh, yeah, no. I've never done one of those.
Never.
Right, right. Had to throw that one in there, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because I want our viewers to know that we are against that. We're
Yep.
against
Oh
that.
gosh. Well,
We think
no.
that's
Like
wrong.
somebody. It may have been AP actually who sent me. Is like, did you just see what he did? And I was
Yeah.
like, no, I don't want to know.
Yep.
And I found out anyway. But like, even my stepdad sent me something this morning. Within the first paragraph of it, I was like, nope, I know what this is about. And back like
Yep.
out of it.
Yep.
And I went and saw him later, and I was like, I love you, but I have a show this evening, and I am not trying to go into the, as AP said last night, the unhinged side of myself. I
Yeah.
didn't go unhinged.
I have
I
not been hinged in a long time, so I'm just going with it. I'm just gonna ride it out. It's standard now.
it's standard. All right, all right.
It's a
Well,
feature, not a bug.
there's
I love
nothing
y'all.
wrong with being feisty.
I am feisty. I love y'all. I love y'all so
Bastard.
much. Amber, it was such a wonderful time to see you again.
It is so shameful. Bastard old musicians never retire. It is so
Yeah.
shameful. Yeah. Well, yeah. It just it. I don't even. Bah, ha, ha. Fidgeting and being in a constant motion is good for you, surely.
Put it
See?
down.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Bunny
These have been
ears.
sitting here the whole time, and I just noticed them.
This is what happens with ADD.
I'm in Jesse's bedroom.
Oh, okay. So you're just pulling out random stuff. Oh God. There we go. There we go.
This is
There
what
we
I'm
go.
wearing to the revolution.
Oh wow. Wow.
Jesse,
Spider-Man and bunny
Spider
ears.
Bunny.
All right, folks. Now that we're beginning to go into the sillies, we thank you for joining us this week. Please join us back next week. I do not know what the topic is. I've got to get a little bit better at this because the last few weeks, like I'm coming up with the topic like 3 days before, and I'm really sorry. It's just been trying to get things nailed down with just with different people. Like everybody is very busy, especially with people
Yeah.
that we're trying to bring on the show. They're very busy within their communities as well, whether it be therapists, whether it be doctors, legal advocates, whoever's coming to talk with us. They're just having a difficult time as well because they're being overwhelmed within their work by people
Yes.
who are worried. So
Yes.
we're trying to
Everybody's
bring more
worried.
people on. So, but I will announce. Y'all will see. I'll get the invitations out as usual. But we thank y'all for joining us once again. And yeah, peace and love.
Peace and
Bye.
love. Bye.